Welcome back to the Rise Up podcast, where we explore topics that empower you to find your inner strength, especially during life's toughest moments. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a conversation that touches every one of us: navigating relationships, building emotional resilience, and embracing your self-worth. Relationships can be tricky, but with the right mindset and strategies, you can handle even the toughest interactions with wisdom and confidence. As always, for those of you who prefer to follow along or need extra support, we've got a full PDF transcript of this episode ready and available. Just check the link in the description. Let's rise together and get started. Navigating relationships with wisdom and strength. Good relationships can be tough to navigate, right? Whether it's with friends, family, or coworkers, there's no denying that human connection takes a lot of work. But I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be as overwhelming as it seems. With the right mindset and a few key strategies, we can all learn to manage relationships with more wisdom, confidence, and clarity. First off, we have to acknowledge something really important. Nobody has it all figured out. I think that's the first step in easing the pressure we often put on ourselves. We're all learning as we go. But what makes a real difference is understanding that, while we can't control how others act, we do have the power to control how we respond to them. Let's be real. Sometimes we encounter people who seem determined to test our patience. They might lash out emotionally or drag us into unnecessary drama. You know the type, right? But instead of getting pulled into their emotional storm, we need to set boundaries. And no, I don't mean building walls around yourself. I'm talking about healthy boundaries that protect your peace while still allowing you to engage with others from a place of strength. One of the best ways to do this is by acknowledging their feelings without absorbing their emotions. For example, instead of saying, "Yeah, I totally agree," when someone is ranting, try responding with, "I see you're really upset about this." It's a subtle shift, but it keeps you from getting wrapped up in their emotions while still showing empathy. Another big point is knowing when to walk away from toxic relationships. Sometimes we invest too much energy into people who don't respect us. And the truth is, not every relationship is worth saving. If someone consistently puts you down or manipulates you, it's time to ask yourself, is this person helping me grow, or are they dragging me down? It's okay to walk away from relationships that no longer serve you. In fact, it's necessary for your well-being. But walking away doesn't always mean cutting someone out of your life completely. Sometimes it's about managing how much access they have to you. Maybe you see them less frequently or interact with them in smaller doses. The key is balance. You don't have to let every person you meet have full access to your life, your thoughts, and your emotions. You have the right to decide how close you let others get. One of the hardest things we deal with in relationships is gossip or negative talk behind our backs. It's frustrating and it can hurt. But here's the thing. The way people talk about you behind your back says more about them than it does about you. It reveals their insecurities, their jealousy, and their desire to shift the blame for their own issues. When someone tries to pull you into their negative talk or asks you to speak badly about others, resist the urge to get involved. A good rule of thumb? If someone gossips to you about someone else, there's a high chance they'll do the same about you to someone else. So stay clear, and don't be the person who spreads negativity. Instead, focus on relationships that uplift and inspire you. Look for the people who support your growth, challenge you in healthy ways, and bring positivity into your life. These are the connections worth nurturing. At the end of the day, the way we handle our relationships shapes so much of our happiness. It's important to remember that setting boundaries, protecting your peace, and surrounding yourself with supportive people aren't selfish acts. They're essential for personal growth and emotional well-being. So as you go through life, remember to be wise in how you manage your relationships. Don't be afraid to create distance from people who drain your energy, and always be intentional about who you let into your inner circle. Relationships should be about mutual respect, growth, and positivity. And when we approach them from that mindset, we set ourselves up for healthier, more fulfilling connections. Building lasting connections and emotional resilience. As we continue talking about relationships, there's something else that's really important to touch on: emotional resilience. This is the ability to bounce back when relationships get tough. Because no matter how much we want things to be smooth, life will always throw challenges our way. What makes the difference is how we respond, how we get back up after setbacks. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that emotional resilience doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending everything's fine. It's about recognizing your emotions, but not letting them control you. When someone hurts us, whether it's a friend, a family member, or even a colleague, it's easy to react immediately, to let anger or frustration take over. But here's where resilience comes in. Instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, take a step back. Give yourself the time and space to process what's happening before you respond. This small pause can prevent a lot of unnecessary conflict and can help you handle difficult situations with a clear head. Resilience also comes from self-awareness. Do you know what triggers you? What makes you feel defensive or upset in a relationship? The more you understand your own emotional patterns, the better equipped you are to manage them. For example, if you know that criticism makes you feel attacked, you can learn to reframe it. Instead of thinking, "they're out to get me," try seeing it as, "they're giving me feedback that could help me improve." It's not easy, but the more you practice, the stronger you become at handling these emotional challenges. Another crucial part of building resilience is surrounding yourself with people who support you. Relationships should be a source of strength, not stress. If you find yourself constantly drained by the people around you, it's time to reevaluate those connections. Strong relationships aren't just about having fun together. They're about being there for each other when times are tough. They're about lifting each other up, encouraging each other to be the best version of themselves. Think about the people you spend the most time with. Are they helping you grow, or are they holding you back? Are they feeding your mind with positive energy, or are they constantly bringing negativity into your life? It's important to protect your mental and emotional space. And that means sometimes making the hard decision to distance yourself from people who aren't adding value to your life. But here's the key. Building lasting connections requires effort. It's not just about cutting people off who aren't good for you. It's about nurturing the relationships that are. Be the kind of friend, partner, or family member that others can rely on. Show up for the people who matter to you. Make time for them. Listen to them when they're going through something tough. Relationships are a two-way street, and the more you invest in them, the more you get back. One of the best ways to strengthen your connections is through honest communication. It sounds simple, but it's something a lot of us struggle with. We're often afraid of being vulnerable, of sharing our true thoughts and feelings because we fear judgment or rejection. But real connections are built on openness and trust. When you're honest with others about what you need, how you feel, and where you stand, it creates a space for deeper understanding. And that's where the magic happens, when two people can be their authentic selves without fear. So let's be honest with ourselves and with those around us. If something's bothering you, speak up, kindly, but firmly. If a relationship isn't working, don't be afraid to address it. And most importantly, if someone is a positive force in your life, let them know. Don't wait for the perfect moment to show appreciation for the people who matter. It's the small moments, the thank you for being there, the I appreciate you, that strengthen relationships over time. In the end, relationships are about balance. It's about finding that sweet spot between protecting your emotional health and staying connected to others. It's about being strong enough to walk away from toxic situations, but also brave enough to open up to new, meaningful connections. Emotional resilience isn't just about surviving tough relationships, it's about thriving in the midst of them, growing through the challenges, and coming out stronger on the other side. So, let's continue building our resilience, nurturing the relationships that matter, and staying true to ourselves. Life is too short to waste on negativity or draining connections. Surround yourself with positivity. Embrace growth, and remember that every relationship, good or bad, has something to teach you. Stay strong, stay open, and keep moving forward with wisdom and grace. The power of self-worth in relationships. As we wrap up this conversation about relationships and emotional resilience, I want to highlight something that is often overlooked but absolutely critical: your self-worth. How you view yourself directly impacts the quality of your relationships. When you value yourself, you set the standard for how others should treat you. It's that simple. Too often, we tolerate disrespect or mistreatment because deep down, we might not fully believe we deserve better. We make excuses for other people's bad behavior, thinking, well, maybe it's not that bad, or I don't want to cause drama. But here's the truth. If you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. Your self-worth sets the tone for every interaction in your life, and it's essential to recognize that you deserve respect, kindness, and care. A big part of maintaining strong, healthy relationships is knowing your boundaries. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about protecting your emotional and mental well-being. When you have clear boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. You show them what is acceptable and what isn't. And if someone continually crosses those boundaries, it's a sign that they don't respect you or your needs. At that point, you have to ask yourself, is this person worth keeping in my life? Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to it. You might feel guilty or worry about hurting the other person's feelings. But remember this: boundaries are a form of self-respect. They're not about being selfish. They're about creating a space where you can thrive. And the people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. In fact, they'll appreciate your honesty and understand that those boundaries are there to protect both of you. Another important aspect of self-worth is not settling for less than you deserve. This applies to all types of relationships, whether it's a romantic partner, a friend, or a colleague. If someone constantly takes advantage of you, disrespects you, or makes you feel small, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. You deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift you, who encourage you, and who see your value. Let's talk about this in the context of friendships. We've all had those friends who seem to only come around when they need something, right? Or the ones who never seem genuinely happy for you when good things happen in your life. These are what we call one-sided relationships, and they're emotionally draining. It's easy to get stuck in these dynamics because we care about the other person, but if you find yourself constantly giving without receiving, it's time to ask, is this friendship truly benefiting me? It's okay to walk away from friendships or relationships that no longer align with who you are or where you're going. This doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you someone who values their own time, energy, and emotional well-being. Letting go of toxic or unbalanced relationships creates room for the right people to enter your life. People who will support you, challenge you in healthy ways, and help you grow. On the flip side, part of honoring your self-worth is also being a good friend to others. Just as you expect respect and kindness, you should also strive to give it. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. Be the person who listens, who shows up, and who values the people in your life. When both sides invest in the relationship, it becomes a source of strength, not stress. Now let's talk about forgiveness, both of yourself and others. We all make mistakes, and no relationship is perfect. But here's the thing. Forgiveness doesn't mean allowing someone to continue mistreating you. It means acknowledging the hurt, setting boundaries to prevent it from happening again, and moving forward. Sometimes moving forward means giving the relationship another chance, and other times it means letting it go entirely. Forgiving yourself is just as important. We can be our own harshest critics, especially when it comes to relationships. Maybe you stayed in a toxic relationship too long, or maybe you didn't set boundaries when you should have. It's okay. You're human, and relationships are complicated. What matters is that you learn from those experiences and use that knowledge to make better choices moving forward. In the end, self-worth isn't something that other people give you. It's something you cultivate within yourself. It's about recognizing your own value and refusing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. When you truly believe in your worth, you'll find that your relationships start to reflect that. You'll attract people who respect you, who value your time and energy, and who contribute positively to your life. So, as you go through your journey of building relationships, remember this. You are worthy. You are worthy of love, respect, and happiness. You are worthy of boundaries that protect your peace. And most importantly, you are worthy of relationships that uplift and empower you. Never forget that. Learning new vocabulary is essential for expanding your ability to express yourself fluently in English. In the first part of the speech, there are some really useful and commonly used American phrases and words that will help you sound more natural when communicating. Whether you're dealing with relationships, emotions, or personal boundaries, these phrases can help you articulate your thoughts clearly. Below are 15 key phrases and idioms with their meanings and examples to guide you in your English learning journey. Let's dive into these expressions. Navigate meaning, to manage or deal with something difficult. Example, we all have to navigate challenges in our relationships. Once again, navigate meaning, to manage or deal with something difficult. Example, we all have to navigate challenges in our relationships. Overwhelming meaning, something that is very intense or difficult to handle. Example, at first balancing work and family felt overwhelming, but I learned to manage my time. Once again, overwhelming meaning, something that is very intense or difficult to handle. Example, at first balancing work and family felt overwhelming, but I learned to manage my time. Take a step back, meaning to pause and consider a situation calmly before acting. Example, when things get heated, it's important to take a step back and think before responding. Once again, take a step back, meaning to pause and consider a situation calmly before acting. Example, when things get heated, it's important to take a step back and think before responding. Wrapped up in meaning, deeply involved or emotionally absorbed in something. Example, it's easy to get wrapped up in someone else's emotions, but you need to stay grounded. Once again, wrapped up in meaning, deeply involved or emotionally absorbed in something. Example, it's easy to get wrapped up in someone else's emotions, but you need to stay grounded. Set boundaries, meaning, to establish limits or guidelines for acceptable behavior. Example, in healthy relationships it's important to set boundaries to protect your peace of mind. Once again, set boundaries, meaning, to establish limits or guidelines for acceptable behavior. Example, in healthy relationships it's important to set boundaries to protect your peace of mind. Healthy boundaries, meaning, limits that protect your emotional well-being while maintaining respectful relationships. Example, she set healthy boundaries with her colleagues to avoid being overwhelmed by work. Once again, healthy boundaries, meaning, limits that protect your emotional well-being while maintaining respectful relationships. Example, she set healthy boundaries with her colleagues to avoid being overwhelmed by work. Absorbing emotions, meaning, taking on or internalizing someone else's feelings. Example, instead of absorbing other people's emotions, focus on controlling your own reactions. Once again, absorbing emotions, meaning, taking on or internalizing someone else's feelings. Example, instead of absorbing other people's emotions, focus on controlling your own reactions. Emotional storm, meaning, a situation where emotions are intense and difficult to manage. Example, he knew how to stay calm even in the middle of an emotional storm. Once again, emotional storm, meaning, a situation where emotions are intense and difficult to manage. Example, he knew how to stay calm even in the middle of an emotional storm. Walk away from, meaning, to leave or distance oneself from a situation, often because it's unhealthy or unproductive. Example, sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away from a toxic relationship. Once again, walk away from, meaning, to leave or distance oneself from a situation, often because it's unhealthy or unproductive. Example, sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away from a toxic relationship. Drain your energy, meaning, to exhaust someone emotionally or mentally. Example, being around negative people can really drain your energy. Once again, drain your energy, meaning, to exhaust someone emotionally or mentally. Example, being around negative people can really drain your energy. Uplift, meaning, to support or encourage someone, making them feel better. Example, I appreciate friends who always uplift me when I'm feeling down. Once again, uplift, meaning, to support or encourage someone, making them feel better. Example, I appreciate friends who always uplift me when I'm feeling down. Invest in relationships, meaning, to put time, effort, or resources into a relationship to make it stronger. Example, it's important to invest in relationships that matter, like with close friends and family. Once again, invest in relationships, meaning to put time, effort, or resources into a relationship to make it stronger. Example, it's important to invest in relationships that matter, like with close friends and family. A two-way street, meaning a situation in which both parties are responsible for making an effort. Example, friendship is a two-way street. Both people need to put in effort to make it work. Once again, a two-way street, meaning a situation in which both parties are responsible for making an effort. Example, friendship is a two-way street. Both people need to put in effort to make it work. Show up for someone, meaning to be present and supportive for someone when they need help. Example, good friends always show up for each other in times of need. Once again, show up for someone, meaning to be present and supportive for someone when they need help. Example, good friends always show up for each other in times of need. Open up to someone, meaning to share your true thoughts and feelings with someone. Example, it took time, but eventually she learned to open up to her close friends about her struggles. Once again, open up to someone, meaning to share your true thoughts and feelings with someone. Example, it took time, but eventually she learned to open up to her close friends about her struggles. Thank you for joining me today on the Rise Up podcast. I hope this episode has inspired you to take a closer look at your relationships and reminded you of the importance of setting boundaries, protecting your peace, and always knowing your worth. Remember, relationships are a two-way street, and you have the power to choose who you let into your inner circle. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to check out the PDF transcript for any part you'd like to revisit. Stay strong, stay true to yourself, and keep rising. Until next time.